I'm Haley, 25 years old, and currently living with my parents in Salt Lake City. I was married to my ex-husband Justin for 2 years. Our marriage was somewhat arranged, as both of our families had been part of the same church for years. Though Justin and I knew each other from high school, we were never particularly close. After he returned from college, our fathers thought we would make a good match, and after only 4 months of dating, we got married. At first, I didn't know how to love a man who had never shown any interest in me before, but I did my best. Over time, I did come to love him, even though it was clear he never loved me back. He fulfilled his responsibilities as a husband and wasn't cruel, so I tried to make peace with the situation. For a while, I found happiness, but out of nowhere, he decided he couldn't continue. One morning, I wasn't feeling well and asked Justin to take me to the doctor. He refused, saying he was busy and suggested I take some medicine and rest. His lack of care hurt me deeply, and I cried. I followed his advice, but my condition didn't improve, so I ended up taking the car and driving myself to the hospital. After a long wait, the doctor finally revealed that I was pregnant. I cried tears of joy on my way home, excited to tell Justin. I bought baby clothes and toys, planning to surprise him and capture his reaction for social media. When I got home, the house was locked. I used my key to enter and wondered where he could be at such a late hour. Just as I was about to call him, I noticed divorce papers on the living room table. There was a letter explaining that Justin had fallen in love with someone else and could no longer continue with our marriage. He had tried to make things work with me but couldn't find the same love, so he was leaving. He wanted nothing more to do with me and instructed me to sign the divorce papers, with the promise of receiving compensation from his lawyer in a few days. He had also sold our house and left me with only a small sum of money. Now, 6 months pregnant, I received a call from Justin for the first time in months. He told me that this month would be the last time he sent me money and that he wouldn't be sending any more after that. He didn't ask how I was, if I was okay, or how I was managing. I didn't share anything with him. I decided not to tell him about the baby. I don't think he deserves to know. My parents argue that it's unfair to keep this from him, but I refuse to tell a man who didn't care about me or my well-being that I'm carrying his child. He pushed me into despair, and if my child suffers the same fate, it's his fault. I don't believe he would care enough to come back. While my parents are supportive, they don't fully understand my decision. They think I should use my pregnancy to bring Justin back, but I won't do that. I value my parents, they've been there for me. Even when my father ended his long-standing friendship with Justin's father after learning of his betrayal, my father was ready to confront him, but my mother and I stopped him. Despite their support, I feel like a burden. At 26, I don't like relying on them. 3 months after Justin left, I found a job as a receptionist to make ends meet. It's not much, but it's my first real job, and it gives me some peace. I've been keeping tabs on Justin, though I know I shouldn't. He's back with his college girlfriend, a lawyer. I understand why he couldn't get over her, especially considering our relationship. They're now engaged. It didn't take him long to break our marriage and promise another woman a future. The night I saw her engagement post on Instagram, I cried myself to sleep. After months of trying to move on, I broke down. I loved him, and he left me without a second thought, choosing someone else. Now, I'm left with our child, a secret he doesn't know about. I wonder if telling him would change anything, but I don't think he deserves to know. Hey everyone, I haven't updated you in a while, but your kind words have truly helped me feel less alone. After my last post, I made a conscious decision to stop dwelling on my ex-husband. I wanted to move forward for my own well-being, for my family, and for my little boy. Yes, I gave birth to a baby boy, and he'll be turning 5 soon. A lot has changed. I don't live with my parents anymore. I bought my own house with money I earned through hard work. With a little help from the bank, I worked my way up from receptionist to manager of the inn where I started. After my son was born, nothing else mattered. I miss having a partner to share in the love for my child, but I couldn't see myself with anyone else. Love didn't feel important anymore. My focus was on taking care of my baby and finding happiness within my own family. Justin's absence became a part of my life, and then one day, years later, he appeared out of nowhere. I was coming home from work when I saw him standing in front of my parents' house. He looked just the same, and I felt like I was losing my mind. He smiled when he saw me, His car was parked nearby, and he was alone. I gave him an awkward wave and smile, and he greeted me with a hug. He asked how I was doing, but before I could respond, my son, Ronan, ran up to me and hugged my leg. I picked him up, and Justin's eyes widened when he saw my son. He blurted out, "You're married?" I looked at him and said, "I'm not, but he is," pointing to Ronan. Justin told me he wasn't with Camila anymore, and I just said, "Good for you," trying to walk away. But then he asked me something I had feared he would, if Ronan was his. I felt trapped, so I told him the truth. Ronan was indeed his child. Justin's face filled with shock and betrayal, and his eyes welled up as he asked why I hadn't told him, why I hadn't called him. He seemed hurt, but I couldn't bring myself to say anything. I stood there, watching him, and regretted not telling him sooner. I kept the truth from him to punish him for all the pain he had caused me. In that moment, I felt like a terrible person. I now have a loving family, and life feels like a blessing. There was a time when I believed I was stuck in an unending struggle, but everything has transformed, and I'm incredibly thankful. Life truly works in mysterious ways, and I've learned that faith is never wasted. Today, Justin, Ronan, and I are the happy family I once dreamt of. Justin returned to Utah after learning about Ronan. He sincerely apologized for his past actions, admitting that leaving me for Camila was the biggest mistake of his life. Meanwhile, Camila had started her own family and proposed an open marriage, which led to their divorce. Justin came back to me. I know it might seem weak to take him back after all he put me through, but as a woman, I wanted to seize any chance for happiness. Despite the pain, I still love him because I never stopped loving him. When I first shared my story here, I was incredibly lonely. It felt like nothing in the world was harder than what I was going through, and I needed to release all my emotions. I couldn't find anyone to confide in, so I turned to this space to ask if I deserved what had happened to me. Your kind words and support carried me through the darkest moments, and I'll always be grateful for that. To those who questioned my choices, I understand your concerns, but life is complicated, and sometimes we make decisions that others may not fully understand. I'm just doing what feels right for me. On a different note, this coming weekend, a group of my friends and I, ranging in age from late 20s to early 30s, are planning a stay at my family's cabin. Two of my friends, Chad and Rebecca, both have children, though not together. Chad's situation isn't an issue, as it's not his weekend with the kids, they'll be with their mother. However, Rebecca ran into a problem when her sister couldn't watch her son due to unexpected circumstances. I sympathized and asked if she had found another sitter, but she said no. So, she decided to bring her son along. I explained that this weekend wasn't ideal for kids. It was meant to be an adult-only trip focused on drinking and other activities. Rebecca suggested we could still have fun even with her son there, but I firmly declined, pointing out that Chad wasn't bringing his children either. She countered that Chad should bring his kids too so they could all hang out. I stood my ground, saying this trip was intended for adults without children. Frustrated, Rebecca asked if this meant she couldn't come. I replied that if she could find a sitter, she was welcome to join us. She accused me of being unfair, suggesting I was excluding her because of her status as a parent. She even claimed that eventually, everyone else would have kids too. So what would I do then? I calmly stated that if that happened, I'd spend time alone. She hung up abruptly. My concern wasn't just about the child. It was Rebecca's tendency to change plans to accommodate her son. I feared the trip would turn into something more kid-friendly, which would derail our original plans. For example, at a festival we attended this summer, everything had to revolve around her son's preferences. When we suggested splitting up to enjoy different activities, she opposed it. Later, another friend called to ask about my decision to uninvite Rebecca. I explained my reasoning, emphasizing that while I understood things happen, Rebecca frequently altered plans for her son. I felt it was unfair for her to change the entire trip for her child, and I stood by my decision. I don't believe I was wrong in this. It's my family's cabin, and I have a responsibility to ensure everyone's comfort and safety. Allowing an unplanned child into this situation could pose legal risks and complications. I believe having a straightforward conversation with Rebecca about sticking to the original plan is the best way forward. She is welcome to join if she can find childcare for her son. This isn't about excluding her. It's about preserving the trip's original intention and respecting everyone's choices. People need to understand that being a parent changes your life, but that shouldn't force others to alter theirs to accommodate you. I won't be pressured into changing my plans to include other people's children, and I'm firm in my decision. As for me, I'm a 19-year-old woman, and today was a big day. I moved out of my family's house. I'm the oldest of 6, and I've always lived with my parents and brothers. Growing up, I was expected to take care of my siblings, do most of the chores, and handle the housework, while my brothers were excused from any responsibilities. Despite my parents' opposition, I pursued my education and applied for independent financial aid to attend university. On the day of my move, when my parents and siblings were out, I packed up my things, left a letter, and quietly left for my university town. I knew they wouldn't let me go if they found out, so I had to leave secretly. I received several calls from them, but I only answered once, and they yelled at me, demanding that I return. I didn't tell them where I was going. When I told my flatmates about it, one of them called me an hole and suggested I give my parents my address. I'm unsure if I made the right choice, but I felt it was necessary to escape an unhealthy situation. I knew if I told them, they'd try to stop me from going, and I couldn't let that happen. I feel I had the right to leave, but now I wonder if I made the right call by leaving so suddenly. The responses I've received have reassured me that I made the right decision. My parents were using me as free labor, expecting me to quit school and work to help them raise my younger siblings. I deserve the chance to pursue my education and live my own life without their expectations weighing on me. I made sure to answer their call to let them know I was safe, which was more than they deserved. I appreciate the advice to be cautious and keep my location private. My new life is just beginning, and I'm determined to make the most of this opportunity. Thank you all for your support.